Hey girl, welcome back to the podcast. And before we dive in, I just want to highlight it is Eating Disorder Awareness Month. And studies show that 62% of women in midlife report that weight and shape concerns significantly impact their quality of life day after day. Friend, this isn't vanity. This is mental health, your mental health. So I wanted to talk about in today's episode, eating disorders and midlife. Because if you're a woman in your 30s, 40s, 50s, or beyond, and you're still struggling with this, I see you. Oh my gosh, do I want to come through the microphone right now and give you a recovery hug. I see you, and this episode, well, it was created for you. So let's dive in. Hey girl, welcome to the Her Best Self podcast. I'm Lindsay Nickel, former competitive figure skater and perfectionist, turned God-led imperfect boy mom and digital CEO. If you find yourself constantly thinking about food and wondering if you'll wake up one day free from the obsessive thoughts and behaviors controlling your life, then I've created this podcast for you. Because I know exactly what it's like to be a downright hot mess, trapped in a destructive cycle of disordered eating. I finally found freedom, and you can too, girlfriend. So if you're ready to heal your relationship with food and body and break the chains of control and show up in your best health, then grab your favorite Tarjay journal and let's get to it. So you can start living your best life as your best self. I just turned 40 last month. And let me tell you, something just shifts when you hit this milestone. I don't know what it is. If you're above 40, you know what I'm talking about. But you start asking yourself different questions. Like, is this it? Is this who I really am? Is this all there is for me? What's next? And if you've been battling an eating disorder for decades, maybe 10, 20, even 30 years, you're asking an even harder question. Who am I without this? Is this even a possibility at this point to be free from it? Is it as good as it gets for me right now? Because here's the thing, midlife can be an identity crisis. We all know that, right? But breaking up with your eating disorder, that's an identity crisis too. And when those two collide, it can feel overwhelming and frankly paralyzing. Like you're staring in the mirror and you don't even recognize yourself anymore. But sis, what if I told you that this collision, this moment where midlife meets your eating disorder, it isn't a crisis at all? What if it's a crossroads? What if it's the perfect time to break free from it? So in today's episode, I wanted to talk about midlife, and I wanted to talk about the parallels of why these identity crises are linked. Because midlife identity and eating disorder identity, they're shockingly similar. So if you're in midlife, you might ask, who am I now? Like, who am I? Who am I that my career is shifting, that I'm taking a different path? Who am I now that my body is changing? What if I can't control it any longer? Just all these questions, because as we're aging, our body is going to change. So you're constantly reevaluating, okay, the second half of life, I like to call it like Lindsay 2.0, the second half of life, like who is she? Where is my identity rooted? And when you're in eating disorder recovery, and even in the very beginning of it, where you're questioning and challenging the reason why you want to get, quote, better or healthier, you might be asking some of these questions too, which are very similar to a midlife identity crisis. Like, who am I without my eating disorder? Who am I if I'm not the fit friend or the disciplined one or the small one? What would happen if I completely surrendered and I completely let go? Would that be letting myself go? And the hardest question of all is when you don't recognize yourself and you're staring at yourself in the mirror and you're going, so who am I? Like, who are you? Are all these years a lie? Here's what I've learned, both from my own life and from working with clients in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. These questions aren't a sign that you're failing. They're just a sign that you're wise. They're a sign that you're ready to stop playing a role, ready to stop pretending, ready to stop living in victimhood, and ready to ask the hard, tough, real questions. Is this really who I am? Is this mask that I put on as a protective mechanism early in my life, is that the one that I want to continue wearing? Or is this really just what I've been performing as for the last 30 years? But what if I don't want to continue performing as her? And the answer, friend, if you're asking that question, is no, this is not who you are. Maybe there's bits and pieces of you, right? Like you're very routine, or you're type A and you're an alpha. Many of those things are true, and they're true for myself too, and so many of my clients. In fact, like all of my clients. But that is not an identity itself, and that is not all there is for you. The eating disorder wants you to believe that's all there is, so that you won't want more because you're not allowed more. But what about midlife, and why this stands out for me when I think about some of the questions I've just been asking in my life in terms of where my business is heading and where my kids are going and about my marriage, is just like, I want to soak up all that there is. And when we think about like the first half of our life, I feel like we're really just learning and experimenting and like going with the flow. And then we wake up one day and we go, wow, how am I here? How am I here? And where do I want to go next? Because that is the power that you hold as you get older and wiser. And so I want us to talk about why eating disorders in midlife are more prevalent than ever, and why more and more women are reaching out for support during this season. Here are the facts. Eating disorder hospitalizations for women age 45 to 65 have increased by nearly 50% in the last decade alone. 13% of women over 50 report disorder eating behaviors, and research shows that eating disorders can persist for 20, 30 plus years, with so many women struggling in silence until midlife. But here's what we know to be true. Recovery rates for women in midlife, they are strong, sis. They are so strong. Studies show that women who seek treatment in their 40s and beyond often have a better long-term outcome because they're finally ready. They're like tired of being tired. They are done with the fight. They are so done. I say that because that readiness, that willingness to just go, you know what? I've tried it my way and be gone because I cannot do another day of this. That is wise. That is wisdom. That is learning, growing, becoming, evolving. So instead of asking what makes midlife harder, I've been dealing with this for so long and I don't know if I will ever feel ready or be ready to actually face this, because now it's just like a part of me. If I'm being truly honest and loving to you and compassionate, but with my little edge that I tend to bring here, that's total BS. That's a lie. That is a cop-out. So I want you to ask a better question. What makes midlife the perfect season to go all in on yourself? Here's what I know is true and why this is now your time. Number one, you're running out of patience, not time necessarily. You've tried everything. You're done. You've done the diets. You've done the rules. You've white knuckled the way through decades of this. You've gone to the therapy and maybe nothing has worked. But what if you just needed a different perspective? What if you needed to live a bit? Hit that midlife moment of, is this it? And realize that the answer is so no, and it is so loud. That, friend, is urgency. That is, I'm so done with my mess energy. And that is the fuel that's going to get you going, F it. If not now, then when? Which brings me to number two. The second reason that midlife is the perfect season to go all in on yourself is that you don't want to waste the second half of your life trapped. You've already given the eating disorder the first half. Maybe not the entire first half, but let's be for real. Some of these traits and beliefs stem from our childhood and childhood traumas. So are you really going to give it the second half? This is your better half, friend. This is your era. This is your time. This is your moment. Number three, your kids. Yes, you might have young kids, or maybe you have kids that are in college or have graduated or are out of the house, which means you finally have a little bit more space for you. And so for decades or years, or maybe even a few years, it's fine. So maybe you've poured into everyone else, your partner, your career, your parents, your friends. Like, you were just so exhausted, not to mention that we get in midlife and we have dealt with conflict with spouses and friends and all of this from isolation of the eating disorder. And it is just kind of piling up and compounding over time. And now you're going through all of the stack of it and asking yourself some really hard questions. There's finally permission to say, what do I need and what do I want? Is this it? Is this it for me? The fourth reason why I feel like midlife is the perfect season is that you're wiser. Sis, you have lived, okay? You know what matters. I don't know, but when I was in my adolescence to my 20s, right? I was chasing that perfection, the ripped abs, the picture perfect skater. Like, I was chasing it, okay? My 30s were kind of there a little bit and I was wiser. But when I hit 40, I don't know what it was. I was like, okay, no nonsense, no more. At 40, I've stepped into this place of presence in my life. Even though I'm recovered from years of having an eating disorder, I'm wanting connection with other people and chasing life. And that old friend, the eating disorder, it just doesn't ever have a place there. And so if you're here going, this friend that I thought was a friend that's really an enemy that lives in my brain is keeping me from all of that, it's because you're wiser. It's because you're wiser. Number 5, one of the reasons why I feel like recovery in midlife is the best time and beyond midlife is because you finally have the resources, whether that is financial resources, emotional resources, or relational resources. All of these are reasons to invest in yourself. Maybe you didn't have access to support in your 20s or 30s. Maybe even during your 20s and 30s, eating disorders weren't even like the thing as if they are now. I mean, I remember even when I was younger going through it, it was such a shameful thing for my parents to go, okay, we have to invest in my child's treatment because she has an eating disorder. It wasn't something that people really knew to be true. But now, friend, it's a little bit more common. I would say we've got a long way to go, but you have more support. You have my podcast, for an example. Maybe you have some more emotional connection, or you've met with a therapist in the past, or your career is booming or has boomed, and you're like, I have an investment that I can make in myself. I'm tired of wasting away and trying to piecemeal all of this together. I'm going to finally go all in. Now, since that you have like a couple of those reasons, those 5 reasons why midlife is really the perfect season and why I'm seeing so many women come to me in their late 30s and beyond is really because this whole like shift of identity. We have to grieve a lot when we're grieving the eating disorder. It's like a divorce, right? I've talked about it before, but it's like getting rid of that old, terrible ex-husband or ex-boyfriend that no longer is serving you in your life, but you're also facing time of menopause or perimenopause where, you know, recovery can work with your body. And I know what you're thinking, Lindsay, my body is changing because of this too. And so I'm just going to balloon up. I'm going to blow up. My metabolism is different. My hormones are all over the place. I know what you're going to say. I should have more to eat or yada, yada, yada. Like, I've done the things. How can I possibly recover now when it's going to be so different for me? Here's the truth. Menopause and perimenopause can actually support your recovery if you let them. And here's why. Your body is changing whether you restrict it or not. Let's be real. Your body is no longer 20. So instead of fighting it, what if you nourished it? What if we tried that? Like, what if you supported it through this transition instead of punishing it? What if you realized, I want to make the second half of my life the best? I want to be strong versus skinny. I want to be there for my kids and my grandkids or my friends or my spouse. Like, I've got a lot to do here. Another thing is hormonal shifts require more nourishment. They just do. They don't require less nourishment. Your body needs fuel to regulate its hormones and to support bone density. I cannot say that enough. Osteoporosis is no joke. Maintaining your muscle mass and protecting your mental health is also so important. And when you're restricting during this time in your life, that doesn't just equal control to your body. It actually is harming it. When we think about perimenopause phase and menopause, it allows you anyways to force you out of your comfort zone. You're gonna have to let go of some control. And that's exactly what recovery requires from you also. So instead of seeing this as like another barrier, what if you saw it as an invitation? An invitation to finally trust your body versus fighting against it. Recovery during menopause, it means that you're setting yourself up for a healthier and stronger second half. It's like we are in the football game. We are armoring ourselves up for the second half. How do we want to finish this one? Sis, your bone health, your heart health, your mental health, your energy, your longevity, all of it requires you to nourish, not restrict. That's not going to work. So the question isn't, how can I recover during this season of my life? I've got all these things on me and I've just been struggling with this for so long. What I'm getting more of is the question of how can I not? How can I not? So ladies are coming to me and going, this is the time because my body is asking me to take care of it. And friend, that is true for you. It's time to listen, tune in. I actually heard this from one of my clients. Lindsay, I have had an eating disorder for 30 years. And I just don't even know where to start. And here's what I say. It is never too late. It is never too late. So I wanted to tell you about some of my clients, okay? Because I want to prove this to you if you're sitting there thinking that you are the magical unicorn and it doesn't pertain. One of my clients, I'm going to leave her anonymous, she came to me at 52. She had struggled with an eating disorder since she was 19. That is 33 years. And she thought, oh, all is done. She's a statistic. She was done, but she was also truly done. And what I mean by that is she was done hiding, done pretending, done missing out. Today, friend, she's free from it. She travels, she hangs out with her kids, she goes to lunch with her husband, she eats without fear. She's rebuilding that relationship with her adult daughter. And she told me, I wish I had done this sooner, but I'm so grateful that I finally did it. Another client I started with her when she was 47 and she had been restricting literally her entire, for what she can remember, life. And she was terrified of gaining weight, especially because she was already noticing that her body was requiring different things of her through perimenopause. But she was more terrified of wasting the rest of her life obsessing and trying to prevent it and trying to do different things. And she was like, Lindsay, I can't do the same things I was doing when I was in my 20s. It's no longer working. So I have to find a way to surrender this. Today, she literally is in the best health that she's ever been in her life. She is strong. She's present. She's energized. She's available for opportunities. And another woman, 61, told me, I spent 40 years believing the lie that I would never be free. 40 years believing the lie. And she said, I have so much left to give and I have so much more time to live. And I finally feel like the shackles are being removed. You see, friend, recovery doesn't have an age limit and there's no requirements except that you don't quit. The only thing that's too late is waiting even more time to get started. And listen, if you're sitting here thinking, well, that's me. I'm in midlife. I've tried this for a really long time, but I just don't know what to do next. And I don't know how to do this alone. I'm here for you. The Recovery Collective is my group support program. It is literally $97 a month, where women just like you in midlife, women who have been fighting for years, we come together to finally talk about the things and to break free from them. If you want to join us in the collective, we are accepting new members. You can go on out to herbestself.co/recovery collective. And if you're like, I want more deep, intimate work and I want to work with you, Lindsay, then go on out right now. This is your era and this is your time to herbestself.co and fill out a client application. I want the second half of your life to be the best half of your life. The truth is that it should be. And so today I just wanted to paint you a picture of what life after the eating disorder can look like. I want you to picture that you wake up and you don't immediately think about food or your body. I want you to picture that you think about your day, your plans, your purpose, where you're headed. The breakfast that you're eating without guilt, it doesn't sting you. And you're nourishing yourself because you know your body needs it. And you're no longer at war with it. You're in partnership with it. It is a collab together. Friend, you have energy. You have energy to show up for work, your passions, your relationships, yes, healthy exercise, and energy that you didn't even know that you could have when you were running on empty for all those years. But even more, you're present. When you're with your partner, when you're with your kids, when you're with your friends, heck, you might even have your libido because you actually have your hormones stabilized. You're actually there because you're not restricting your food and you have cognitive function mentally, not distracted by food math or body anxiety. You're just present. You're in the room. You're listening to your people. And when you look in the mirror, you recognize yourself. Not because your body looks a certain way, you're not picking apart your stomach or looking at your shoulder or judging your thigh, but because you finally see you, the real you that was behind that mask for so many years, the one who's been buried for so long. What if I told you that you can travel, you can try new things, you can live, and not because you're spending your mental energy on restriction and control, but because you're finally spending it on life? Which was the purpose after all. And so you can finally answer that question that we all get when we hit midlife. Is this it? Is this who I am? Is this all there is? Friend, I'm here to remind you today, no. Absolutely freaking no. This is just the beginning. This is who you're becoming. And there's so much more for you. So here's what I want you to take away from today's episode. This isn't a crisis. It's a crossroads. Midlife isn't the end. It's the beginning of the second half. And breaking up with your eating disorder in midlife means that you get to reclaim that second half of your life. You get to decide, who do I want to be? How do I want to show up? What do I want my legacy to look like? How many days do I actually want to go for that walk? And that eating disorder, well, she doesn't get a vote. She's had too many of them. So here's my challenge for you during Eating Disorder Awareness Month. If you're in midlife and you're struggling, reach out. Don't wait another decade. Don't wait another year. Don't waste the second half of this life. It's time to get support, whether that's with me, a therapist, a treatment facility. And if you know someone, a friend, a sister, a coworker who's in midlife, who's struggling, share this episode with her. Let her know that now is the time. Now is the time to think about armoring your body up for protection as you age. And it's okay to grieve what once was. That's all part of the process. That's actually what I help my clients with. But I want you to let her know and let you know that it's never too late, because eating disorders, they don't discriminate. And recovery, well, that doesn't either. So as I head into the second half of my life, my main goal is to feel more purposeful, to feel more intentional, to feel like I'm finally asking and answering the right questions. And so if you're in midlife and you're asking the questions of yourself, like, is this it? Is this who I really am? Is this eating disorder all that I know? Is it a part of me? Then today I want you to take action. This is not a crisis, it's a crossroads. This is your era. I want you to take a step and to be fully into what it finally feels like to be unapologetically you. Until next time, I love you, friend. Talk to you soon. Bye for now. Oh, friend, thank you so much for letting me share what was on my heart today. My hope for this podcast is to help more women find freedom from food and body. If this has empowered or blessed you, let me know. I'd be honored for your rating and review of my show, and I'd love to connect with you in my private Facebook community. You really can move from perfection to purpose. Let's break the chains together. I'll help navigate the way. Until next time, bye for now, girl.